Hey guys, my name is Gian. I asked you guys to send me some of your tattoo pictures for me to critique them, so I'm just gonna get right to it. Okay, so the first one that I have over here is from Amanda Kutcher, and she sent over this lady face with, it's actually a knife with like this lady face in it. It's a great tattoo. One of the things I really like about this tattoo is the shape that she used around this other tattoo. I mean, you can see that this person has a tattoo right around there, and Amanda did this nice S shape over here. And I loved using those in the arms. They look great. I think it really fits the shape of this, this part of the arm that she used. I do have a couple critiques about it. My first thing about this tattoo that I would change would be to
make this tattoo bigger.
I think the tattoo would have benefited from being maybe even a 30% bigger. I mean, you can fit this in this arm, and it would have made it easier for you to tattoo, and also it wouldn't have added that much time. Maybe 30 minutes, an hour. It's just a little bit longer to get it finished, but it's gonna add to the final product so much. It's gonna look so much better. So first thing, let's see how this thing bigger would look. Probably would have done this tattoo this size and tied up to this one. I wanted in mind. Just make it nice and big and having the whole shape flow and fit in there. All this would have gone right behind the tattoo. And actually it's good for you. You don't really want to gap so much in there. And if I would have stuck this stencil on somebody and this little peak would have been going into the armpit, right? And I would have been like, I don't like that. I don't like how it looks. I would have just gone in there and I would have erased that and made it a little bit smaller. And it's not a big deal. It's something you can do with a marker. Anybody can do that. So don't worry about having the tattoo fit there perfect. Maybe the tattoo's touching this leaf, it's touching this other tattoo when you put the stencil on. Well, move the leaf a little bit at the end. But worry about the big picture. Have this knife really nice and straight on his body where it fits good. Another thing that I would do is the leaves. I would have done darker leaves. I know there's a lot of black in this tattoo, but I would have done less black in the knife and more black in the background. I don't love when I do a tattoo and I have skin against skin. It just makes the tattoo look unfinished. It just gives a person that doesn't, you know, that's maybe not that artistic, look at it and be like, oh, there's something wrong with this tattoo. I don't know where it is. A lot of times that's what it is. Just make sure you got nice and dark leaves. If this was been something I would have done, I would have just done it completely black. Maybe some like veins, some like negative space veins in the inside here. I'll show you how that will look. It's something like that. Would have done dark leaves, honestly, just black leaves. And then I would have kept the actual knife looking a little bit lighter. Even these, I would have just done straight black hair strands up to maybe around there. This all goes to the back. I would have kept that even darker because you really want to make it stand out from the face. You don't want the same tone in the hair as the face. And right now, around here, it's probably the same tone as around here. They just look too even to each other. And yeah, it weirds me out. Just add that black. Maybe a couple of light strands to make it stand out, but that's pretty much all you need. You don't need all these little 3 round line liners. It's not gonna do any good for you. Go weird with the hair. You know, these 2 strands are cool, but you know, you can do another strand going behind there or something like that. Give it a lot of flow. It's good to get a lot of flow. Another thing that I see about this tattoo is the eyes. The eyes, I mean, you got pretty good eyes going on here. There's a better way to do it. You really want a dark line when it comes to the eyelashes in the top ones. You really want those really nice and dark. You don't want to use your 3 round liner here. Make sure you get a nice bushy eyebrows in the top. They look good. And then you got your bottom eyelid right here. I don't like to do eyelashes coming out of the bottom of the eye. Especially coming out of the actual eye, because they don't come out of there. They really, if you were gonna do them, they would come out of this little bezel or bevel that we got here. That's where they would be. But I don't like to do that. I just like to do a lot of darkness underneath the eye. Kind of looks cool and I like doing it. And it solves that problem when I don't have to go in there and do these tiny little 3-round liner lines. I don't know. I think this already looks better to me. Maybe a thicker outline in the outside of it. And when it comes to the shape of the face, when it comes to a woman's face, I like them to be rounded out. I don't like to have these jaggedy, straight corners on a face like what we have here in the jaw. Kind of want to like keep those rounded out. So make sure you do that when you're doing faces or lady heads. I usually don't have lady faces that are smiling. I make them a little bit more sad. I think they look good when they're sad. Yeah, besides that, this is a great tattoo. Make bigger shapes when it comes to this wood pattern. Don't have it so congested in there, and you know, keep doing what you're doing because this is a great tattoo, and I think it can only just get better over the years when you keep tattooing. So good job. Okay, the next one is from Skylar, and I actually know Skylar. He took a private seminar with me, and it's just been awesome seeing him get better and better. This is a great tattoo. It looks great. It fits awesome on the body. I think this is one of the first things that I noticed. This is the outer part of the arm. Now, some of the things that I would change on this tattoo, starting off, would be to outline this fire. Doing the fire with the gray outline, the gray wash outline, and then trying to have it look like you don't have an outline and it's all, you know, like tricked out, kinda. It sounds good on paper. Man, on skin, it's tough to have this done. You're gonna have this jaggedy look if you don't do it perfect. If you don't go in there and actually cover the red perfect, and then the black and red, black. It's gotta be perfect, or else you're gonna have this jaggedy look around the fire, which, you know, again, it's something that you can just solve by doing an outline on it. So I would recommend in the future doing an outline, even if it's a dark red outline. You can totally do that. And this is something that I used to do a lot. I used to do my flames with gray wash, and then at the end of the day, it would just be so hard. It would make my tattoo take 10 times longer. And at the end of the day, it wouldn't look as good as I wanted it to look. So doing an outline is smart. If you really want to go with that look of the gray wash, then do it with a thick liner. Use like a 9, like a bold 9. Do it thick, or at least a 7 loose. Just do it nice and thick with your gray wash, and it's gonna look good. Another thing is in the face. I see a lot of gray wash outline, which looks good, I guess. I mean, I would stray away from that. I would use your thick outlines, at least in the outside of the nose area, you know? Because when I look at this tattoo, it looks great, everything, but it just seems like it needs more black here. Even though there's a lot of black, but it still seems like it needs more black. Like, this part needs to be better packed in, and just nice and even, because I could see a spot here where it's a little bit light. So just make sure you get those things really nice and dark. And sometimes when you need a little bit more black in your tattoo, it's just that you need a little bit more of a heavier outline. So making sure you don't have these light little lines here, and you just go purposely with darker outline. It would have looked better, I think. Just make it a little bit darker. That black is so important. It's so hard when you do all the lines, you do all the blacks, and then sometimes it just seems like it's a little bit too much. But remember, once you go over that black with color, it lightens up a lot. So make sure you got your blacks heavy in there and they look like you purposely put them there. Darkness is good. Right here, I would have done just black, straight black. Even underneath the lip, I would have gone even darker here. Just a little bit showing. Don't be afraid of the black, but that stuff already is starting to look better like that if you just add these things. Yes, make sure you got it nice and even when you're doing stuff like this. Change needles, go into a 9 and really do it nice in there so it looks smooth. Even right here, I could do right underneath this wing, just heavy black. And the white, I think you could have dealt without that white. Use white sparingly. I don't like to use it a lot because it's hard to get it look packed even and making it look nice. So it's a great design. The color scheme on it is really good. Yeah, just the little things here and there to make it even look better. But Skylar is a great artist, and you know, I'm really pumped to see what he's gonna do in the future. Okay, the next one is from Deshawn. It covers the area super well. I really like this tattoo. It's actually why I picked it. There's just a little bit that I would do to this tattoo. And I think we spoke about it in one of the past tattoos, but I would
Make this tattoo bigger.
That's honestly, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, this tattoo needed to be 30% bigger. It would have fit the arm perfect. And the hand, because I can see right here, there's a gap right along right here, both sides. You want it to wrap a little bit. You know, here's the thing, a lot of people want it to look good in the picture and they don't want to cut off anything of the tattoo or have it warp or anything like that. But I mean, warping is good. It's not a bad thing. You want to warp a little bit when it comes to flowers, roses, or you know, anything like that. It's just faces what you don't really want them to be warping in weird directions where they look ugly or not appealing. With a tattoo like this, you can actually go bigger. You know, having the tattoo go a little bit over where it fills up really good down here. And sometimes you put a stencil on and you're like, oh, this, you know, the hand is a little bit small, but you know, I'm never gonna get this stencil all in one shot all over again. Man, this is an easy stencil cut. You could have cut this tattoo right here and made that stencil by itself and put it on by itself. Make sure that these two roses with the 65 is nice and perfect, and then grab this other one to stick it in there. If you're gonna go with this thin outline, like what you got over here, which is, it looks like a 5 round liner or a 7 or something like that, it's tough. You're making it way harder on yourself because now you gotta really make sure you go in there and you don't go over the line, like what happened over here a little bit. Where you start seeing that you kind of lose it right in that little chunk right there. In kind of these tips and a little bit over here, I can see where you went a little bit over. And it makes it look not as smooth, not as clean. So something that I do, because that happens to me too. If I would have used a thin outliner like this and I would try to shade this is probably exactly how it would have looked, you know. The thing is, I would have used a thicker outline. Thicker outline for this 65 would made your life way easier. This tattoo, you could have saved an hour probably in it just by doing this lines thicker. Your brain doesn't have to think that much. You can just go right in there and shade stuff, and it's way easier. So don't be afraid of going with thicker outlines. Use your thick outlines and your thin ones. Don't just make everything with a thin outline, and because it's just, you're making it harder for yourself. And honestly, I think it just doesn't look as good as having that 65 pop like that, you know? It's gonna be way easier. Like all this could just be black. It doesn't even have to have this little piece you had here of the leaf going behind it. You know, it could just be all black. Heavy blacks, it's good. And again, the leaves, if you're gonna go with dark leaves, it's tough because then you can't really go with a dark background. It's, you're just doing black against black and you're gonna lose that contrast. So if you're gonna go with a heavy black background, you gotta go with lighter leaves. These are a little bit too dark. I think a little bit lighter leaves would have looked better. Again, there's not a lot I can say bad about this tattoo. This is a great tattoo, and it's actually why I picked it. because I wanted to talk about it. I mean, the difference between a stencil that's too small and too big when it comes to time, I've said it before, it's not a lot. We're talking about half an hour, and I know that sometimes, you know, that seems like a lot, but it's not. You can totally add an hour or half an hour to a tattoo to make it that much better. You know, take it to that next level where it looks amazing. It's just half an hour away. So think about that when you're doing your next tattoo. Bump it up, make it a little bit bigger. It's gonna look better. And again, you're doing great. This is a great tattoo. Let's go to our next one. Next tattoo is from Katie. She is from Norway and she's been tattooing for almost a year. She's a tattoo apprentice and this tattoo looks great. I'm really surprised. For a person that's been tattooing for a year, this is a great tattoo. I could have probably, dude, I know I was not doing this type of work in my first year of tattooing, not even close to it. So I can just see that this person is gonna get really good at it. There is a couple things that I see with this tattoo that kinda I would change or would make this tattoo even better. And that's the shape of it. Because obviously each part of this tattoo is very well tattooed. These lines are already healed and they came back for a second session to do the color. And the color looks so well packed. It really is amazing. I loved how they left this skin break over here. But again, like I was saying earlier, I would have gone with a little bit of that tone underneath here. Just a little bit, just so you don't have skin against skin. Or what you could have done was probably would look even cooler. You can go with some of this gray tone, give it just a little bit underneath. That's probably what I would have done. And that would have helped too to make it look like this wing is over the other one, because that's the illusion they're trying to do. It's got, I mean, it is kind of weird for me that these petals of these flowers are transparent, and that's the look that this artist is trying to get. I kind of lose that when I look at that. I would have probably strayed away from doing this, even though it's a nice little trick. I don't know. It's kind of confusing, to be honest. But I mean, it doesn't look bad. I love it on the wing. On the wing, it looks great. And that's when we come back to when you do certain things that look so good, and then you want to keep doing it, and you're like, hey, it looks good in this wing. Let me just do it in these petals, and let me just do it over here. Man, you start losing it, you know? You put details on everything, and now you got no details. So these little droplets of water with the little sparkly piece of white, and then you got the shade of the drop of water on top of a rose. It looks great when you're doing one of those. As soon as you put two of them, it's too much. It's too much. So think about that, you know, less is more when it comes to stuff like this. I would have loved to have seen a little bit of some sort of lines, or maybe some sort of, with the shader, with the mag, just sideways, you can just do a little bit of this pattern in the back of the beetle. And the other thing, which is the biggest thing for me with this tattoo, is the shape of the tattoo. It's a great tattoo, but I feel like it doesn't really fit the arm as well. It's just not drawn for it. This is a great tattoo for a forearm. It would have looked great on a forearm because it's really nice and straight and everything's nice in there. But I think for the arm, when it comes to it, having a shape that you're going for, it's gonna help you in the long run. And what I mean by that is having a shape that goes with the arm. So something like that's what I would do in the top of the arm. It's almost always my to be honest. It's almost like an inverted 9. They fit really good on the arm, and if I were doing this tattoo, I would flow with this shape. So probably have this flower over here, and the leaves would go with this flow that I have. So follow this 9 when you're doing stuff. Even the flower in the bottom, I would probably have it facing the other way. So now you got a shape that you're going with, you know? You can maybe even make this a little bit bigger, this beetle, and have it right over here, a little bit more towards the side. So that's gonna make it fit better in the arm. It's gonna make the arm look great. It's just gonna look better, because what's gonna happen is this person's gonna love this tattoo so much that they're gonna come back to you and they're gonna be like, hey, I want something for the back of my arm. And it's gonna be tough. You're not gonna know what to do. There's a lot of background here that, you know, you're gonna have open space. It's gonna be a tough tattoo. So I try to avoid that stuff. I try to get the big picture out of the way, get everything fitting good. And again, you said you had 2 sessions on this tattoo, so it would have been no problem to go a little bit bigger and frame this arm really good. But besides that, this is a great tattoo. I can't wait to see more tattoos from this person, because I mean, it looks like 10 years from now, it's just gonna be amazing. The next tattoo is from Colin. There is a lot of things I like about this tattoo. I like the color scheme of it. I do like that muted tone, warm colors that it has. The actual like shape of it is kind of cool. I kind of like it. It's got this frame that's really symmetrical, but then the skull and the lantern are asymmetrical, and it kind of gives it that, you know, that look and that flow. I like how it looks, to be honest. It's a good one. But at the same time, when I look at it, there's a lot of things that I could change or improve on this tattoo. And yeah, first of all, we gotta talk a little bit of the skin. The skin is a little bit hit, a little bit rough. You know, it's definitely a little bit overcooked, I would call it, you know, when it comes to spots like this and like this over here and behind the skull. You can kind of see it back here. So those are spots that you gotta watch out for, all these spots. What looks to me that happened is that this person did this tattoo one day, had the person come in the next day to take a picture of it. And in between all that time, this tattoo was pretty much healing. You know, they gave a pretty rough wipe. It could have been the client. So taking a picture the next day, I try to avoid that. Take the picture right there and then. It's gonna look the best at the moment, you know? Having a polarizer film with a polarizer light and on your camera, on your phone, I think nowadays it's really important. You really want a nice picture of your tattoo, and it would have benefited a lot from that. When it comes to the design, I gotta say, I would have made this lantern much bigger.
Way bigger.
Seems like a pattern by now. All I'm saying is that this has
Gotta be bigger, it's gotta be bigger.
Well, I guess, you know, I do that. I think tattoos sometimes, most of the time, just need a little bit of bump. The beads, I would have probably made them asymmetrical, not like the frame. Even though the frame's symmetrical, I would have changed the beads up, made these beads something like this. Not that big. Or maybe 2 beads that go one from down here all the way up here and one from here all the way to here. Just making it look cool like that. Maybe you can have this one going up all the way up to that one. So just breaking it up, you know, making it look so that it doesn't look like you used the filter from Photoshop to make everything look symmetrical when you're tattooing. Something like that. And then again, I would have used this flame and I would have gone
Bigger with the flame.
I like to use the DigiPen when it comes to flames and doing fire and stuff like that. DigiPen is great. I'll show you what I do with it. I would have done this fire like this. Have it come in and out of the lantern, something like that. And if you're gonna have all this yellow down here and this red down here and all that stuff, man, you gotta have it up here somewhere. That's how I think about it. When I'm tattooing, I'm like, I have to have it up there somewhere. I don't know what. Honestly, it could be a flower. You could do the frame red. You can do whatever you want, but you need some red so that the tattoo doesn't only have it down here. Like if this would be me, what I would have done, I would have just done a fire coming out of this, you know? Something like that. It doesn't even have to be a lot, to be honest, just a little bit. How cool would it have been if the eye had fire coming out of it? But yeah, it's because you're adding red to the tattoo. Now you don't just have these muted tones. Now you got this pop going on. So something like that is what I would have done. All right, guys, I think that's it for me. This has been a lot of fun. I can't wait to do it again. Send over your tattoos and I'll critique them. I'm also going to be giving a seminar at Eden Body Art Studios here in Dallas, Texas, the 23rd of March and the 24th. I got a lot of information and tricks that I got saved up for that seminar. Day one of this seminar, I'm gonna be talking about the design that we're all gonna tattoo the next day, and we're gonna give you critiques. And I'm gonna be sitting there with you guys, and we're gonna talk about your tattoos. Day two, we're gonna be tattooing a design that I'm gonna have pre-drawn for all you guys, and we're all gonna be tattooing on fake skin. The spots are gonna be limited because I wanna make sure that I got time for everybody. And again, if you have any questions, read the caption for more info.